one of the emotions that I think a lot of us feel, and I have felt many times, is we start to get angry and bitter towards others because we're always so focused on them. Obviously, for a lot of us parents, where are we focused? We're focused on our spouse and we're focused on our kids. Your kids, they take a lot from 0 to 20. They're taking up a lot of your time and energy. You don't want to have this anger and bitterness because you're just giving of yourself all the time to everyone else and not making any time for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Strong by Design podcast. Thank you for joining us today. Really excited to get into this material. A special solo from yours truly, Coach Chris Wilson, today on a topic that I've been kind of tossing around in my brain for the last several weeks and months, and thought it was a very timely topic to tackle at the kind of the start of a new year, and how if we can get good at this one thing, how we're just going to be better for everybody else in our life that's counting on us. And ultimately, that's what this is about. This is being in service of yourself so that you can better serve others in your life, your spouse, your significant other, your children, your family members and friends, your coworkers, the people that you're around on a regular basis. You'll be better for all of them if you're doing what you should be doing for yourself, making time for yourself and the things that are life-giving. And so I kind of wanted to run through this. Ultimately, what happens to you when you neglect yourself? Now, you might not recognize this or notice this or feel this, for a period of days or weeks, but over time, when it's become months, and in many cases years, I think people become very stressed and they hit burnout on everyday things, everyday home, morning time rituals. They get burned out on those things. They get burned out on helping their children maybe with homework. They get burned out on running errands or doing household chores. They get burned out on being good neighbors. These things become exhausting rather than pleasurable or beneficial to you, your character. Every day we're supposed to live in gratitude, right? So, but if you're stressed and you're burned out, it's really hard to find that grateful gratitude mindset. It's nearly impossible to do that. So that's one really, really big hole in your life. Your mental health. You're going to struggle with your mental health. Probably how you see yourself, your confidence, how you talk to yourself, the little voice in your head. You're just going to have a very probably negative self-talk. I've found myself there many times. I can be my own worst enemy for sure, and I'm sure most of us feel that way. It's not other people criticizing us; it's our own criticism of ourselves. We can be so rough on ourselves, so hard on ourselves, the things that we think about ourselves and say to ourselves, especially when no one's around. I know I've been aware of that and working on that myself. Our physical health will struggle 100%. If you don't take time for yourself, if you don't make time for yourself on a several days a week schedule, your physical health will be compromised greatly. Your longevity is definitely halted or retarded, and I mean that obviously in that sense of the word. It is compromised big time. Like if you're hopeful to live to be 85, 90 years old, but you're not making time for you to be physically active, doing healthy exercising and all of that. I mean, you're stunting your life probably by a full decade or more. I'm a huge advocate. I mean, when it comes to even just cognitive function, right? I've talked about that in recent episodes and many times over the years. Like, we are doing such a disservice to ourselves if we're not physically active. Everything in our body, from how our organs work, our digestive system, our lymphatic system, our muscular, obviously, our system. I mean, everything is negatively affected when we're not physically active. So I can go on. I get to do a full episode just talking about that. Reduced productivity, how we feel, and from an energy standpoint when we're at work. Having motivation to take action on things, to get stuff done, keep it the clean version, GSD, as we say here at Critical Bench, get bleep done. And you're not going to do that very well if you're not setting aside time blocking, making time for yourself. Your productivity is gonna really be affected. And how about your relationships? Your relationships with the people that you spend the most time with, those are 100% negatively affected if you are not setting aside time for yourself to do the things that fill your cup up. Most of us, I think, are running around with a half-filled cup or a cup that has holes in it. So we're trying to fill it, but it's just the holes. It's running out. It's like a boat, right? That's got holes in it, and you're using your bucket, and you're getting that water out of the boat, but the water just keeps coming into the boat, and you're like, I can't keep this up. That's what's going to happen. That's what life's going to feel like, and I think we've all been there. I know I have. But I'll talk through this, kind of go through this a bit and break it down. The areas I think that I personally am doing well in, or at least improving in, and the areas where I'm failing and where I need to improve. And you should kind of, as I go through this, kind of have a little checklist in your mind, or you could jot it down. And yeah, how am I doing here? If I had to give myself a letter grade or a 1 out of 10, what would I give myself here? Okay, so, but what happens to you? What's life look like when you do make time for yourself? If you're blocking out and scheduling time, me time in your life. I mean, if you're diligent about it, like setting up a schedule for yourself on a daily or weekly basis, already you'll probably feel better just from a mental standpoint. Like, you'll feel like some relief. Okay, I know on Monday I have this time to go be physically active, or do that hobby, or read, or pray, meditate, go for a walk. Like, when you've scheduled those things in, I think you automatically are like, that's that time. That's untouchable time. And I know people, very successful people that I've spoken to over the years, people I've learned a lot from, they're great at that. Oh my gosh, they're so good at it. They're so good at blocking off time, early morning oftentimes, but even end of the day stuff. Like, there's after 5 o'clock, highly successful people will be like, no, I don't, that's it. That's family time now. Wherever I'm at. Now, there are exceptions, but most times, most cases, most days, I get to a certain time in my day, and that time after that is untouchable. And they're really good about putting their phone away. And that's an area where my wife would agree. I struggle. And either bringing work home with me, or just, it could be something just nonsense that I'm still like plugged in. I got to do a better job of leave the phone in the car or something when I first walk in the door and forget about it for a while. I can go out and get it later. So anyway, the time blocking and scheduling the me time, I think, is huge. Put it in a planner, put it in your phone, set an alarm. And you're only going to get good at that stuff when you do it consistently, at least for a month. If you could do it for a month, if you can challenge yourself to do it 30, even 40 days, you have a great chance at establishing it as a habit. And I mentioned, what are some of the things you could do, like from a mental clarity standpoint, mindfulness practices like meditation, prayer, deep breathing exercises. These are some things I've implemented here and there and tried. I haven't followed through greatly on some of these. This is an area I'd like to improve in, where I am doing good about my devotional time, Bible reading, devotional reading, prayer. I am doing pretty darn good there, but there's other like breathing things and meditation, some mindfulness stuff that I would like to continue to do. Just having quiet time with nothing, no distractions, nothing at all, just letting my mind kind of wander a little bit, and hopefully hearing from God in those moments. I think giving him some opportunity to speak to me directly. Because the busyness of life, the distractions of life, the chaos of life have a way of just creeping in all moments of the day. And creating healthy boundaries. This is, part of this time blocking thing is like, having those moments in certain days of the week or certain hours of the day, having these boundaries that other people are aware of. That's a real benefit to you, being able to say no to things, because it's just like, and them know, understanding, like, okay, yeah, I remember that. That's on Tuesdays in the morning, or at dinner, or he does half days on that day or whatever. Like that's a family day, or these are healthy boundaries, and we can establish these things. We just have to be willing to do it, and that's going to look different for everybody. From one person to the next, it's going to look different, but that's fine. What works for you? Some people are really good, maybe making Sunday kind of like that's their day, right? That's their church day, their family day. That's their home. They're not doing anything with friends. They're not doing anything, and maybe neighbors, maybe stuff that's like neighborhood would fall into that on a Sunday. But you're trying to just focus on those people in your life on that day. And so again, that looks different for everybody, but having those boundaries in place and others are aware of them will help for sure. And then, of course, you're engaging in regular activities, physical activity on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. I feel like every day we need to be walking. At least 3 times a week, you need to be doing some form of resistance or strength training. And I would even go one further and say you should try to attach yourself to some type of sport or physical activity that's fun with other people, connection stuff, playing tennis, playing softball, playing pickleball, I don't know, anything that's going jogging, going bike riding, right? Any of these activities that you can do in groups, fantastic, because you're getting not only the physical part of it, but you're getting all the fun that comes with it, all the relationship building that comes with it, making memories, all those things that are so very important that really make life worth living. Doing something you enjoy with people you enjoy doing it with. Wow. I mean, I think back, just as a sidebar or memory, I think back when I was general manager of a tennis and fitness center for several years, and I really, really enjoyed that position. I was overseeing the personal training at this facility. I had my own clients still, and it was at a tennis and fitness center, so I had access to 7 tennis courts. We had 6 clay courts and 1 hard court, and I got to play tennis every week, and I played multiple times a week. There was this one older gentleman, Tom Key. I wonder what he's doing these days, if he's still around. This is some years ago. Older guy, used to kick my butt in tennis. He was really good, but I kept getting better. And I remember winning my first games get against them. I think once or twice I won a set, and I just like celebrated. And but man, I just loved it. I looked forward to it. I loved the sweating outside and really pushing myself and playing on clay. There's nothing quite like it. It's way better than playing on the hard court. It's easier on your body. It's more fun to slide. Anyway, I can go all day talking about tennis. I loved it. Loved that sport. And but if you can do that with other people, doubles, it's a little bit less physically grueling. That's why pickleball has become so popular. Oh my gosh. Playing 1 day a week, 2 days a week, whatever that is, it's great. Basketball. I mean, a lot of YMCAs and other facilities like that, community centers offer basketball. If you like basketball, go join and pick up game, and you can be the old guy in the group, or it doesn't matter. There's so much opportunity out there. You just have to look for it. And then one other thing is, how about your sleep? Prioritizing your sleep, which we all kind of relegate to some kind of like thing we need to do, but I don't need to get my 8 hours or my 9. And I'm lousy at this, by the way. Here's another area I'm failing. I go to bed way too late. I get up at a good time. During the week, I'm usually up by 6:45. I'm starting a challenge coming up very soon with some guys I'm in a men's group with. And we're going to do a 40-day challenge. It's biblical. It's a little bit of scripture, a little bit of prayer time, and I'm going to start getting up earlier in my day so that I can dedicate like 20 minutes or something to devotion time, and that'll really help, because that helps two areas. That it helps me with my setting more of a schedule for my sleep patterns, and also helps me in an area that, growing closer to God through being in His Word and meditating on His Word a little bit. So if you're not Christian, or if you're not into that, hey, find something else. Do some breathing exercises. Do yoga. Do some mindfulness practices. There's lots of other things out there from a spiritual perspective, of course. I just happen to be Christian, so that's what I'm going to do with my time. So that's what it can look like for in terms of the things that you're taking time for yourself. And but I wanted to kind of talk through what some of these dangers and pitfalls are when you don't make time for you. Okay, so one of the emotions that I think a lot of us feel, and I have felt many times, is we start to get angry and bitter towards others, because we're always so focused on them and their livelihood and their stuff. Obviously, for a lot of us parents, where are we focused? We're focused on our spouse, and we're focused on our kids. And there's a certain chapter of our lives where they're going to get a lot of that time. Now, of course, your spouse a little different. Your kids take a lot. They take a lot from 0 to 20. They're taking up a lot of your time and energy. So that's about a 2-decade period there. But then, Lord willing, they are adults now, and you're kind of getting all that time back for you to focus on your spouse, and hopefully you still have a relationship with them. And that's why it's important to work on that now, before the kids are out of the house, that you and your spouse are actually in good shape. But you don't want to have this anger and bitterness because you're just giving of yourself all the time to everyone else and not making any time for yourself. But I could see, why you're. I totally understand why you're going to feel that way, and you should. I mean, it's just normal. You always feel like, gosh, again, I got to do this and I got to do that, and it's a lot of I got to do's, and I look forward to doing this for this person because I already did some stuff for me. So that's, we got to get past the blaming them for the lack of time for ourselves. Okay. And as I said earlier, we're always pouring in to all these other people and emptying out our own cup without replenishing it. Right. So we're always kind of coming from, it's like your phone. You charge your phone, it's at 10%. You charge it and it gets up to like 40%. But you only charge it for like 20 minutes. it's not even half charged. So how long are you going to have that phone for the day without needing to plug it back in again? So maybe you plug it in again. When you're traveling, people understand this, right, from traveling, because you don't always have access to outlets and stuff. So like if you're flying and stuff. So if your phone's not fully charged to start the day, and you're always like trying to find 10-minute windows to like put a little bit more juice in your phone, that's what this can feel like. You're always just fighting to find opportunities to recharge, but it's hard, and you don't really get enough of a charge each time you do it. So maybe that's a good analogy. Maybe that kind of hits home with you a little bit more. Another thing is this. You're not tapping into, not giving yourself time to tap into things that bring you joy, true joy. We all need to have those things in our lives. And I think a lot of us feel like we've outgrown that chapter or something. Like that hobby's like, I did that when I was like a kid, or, in my 20s before I got married and had kids. So that's like an old me, but it doesn't mean that it has to die. You can't resurrect that. You can't bring that. I mean, here's one example for me. I grew up playing drums, and I really like playing drums. I was never like an excellent drummer. I was always like a hack drummer. I think I was okay. And I didn't really play officially in bands. I used to jam with friends. I used to play in some school functions and stuff. And I love it. Years ago, I sold my drum kit. I mean, it's been over 10 years. Probably been closer to 12 or 13 years ago. I sold my drum set. So I've not played officially on a drum set in a very long time. I'm now a tapper on my steering wheel when I drive kind of drummer. But I still feel like I have rhythm, and if I sat down on a drum set, I could still play, but I'd be rusty as all get out for a while. But when the time is right, I would love to get just a nice simple drum kit again and set it up and actually be able to sit and play. Maybe once a week, a few times a month, whatever that looks like. But I know how much joy that would give me to put like some headphones on and play some music that I really like. That would bring me great joy. I smile just thinking about it, but I don't know that I'm there yet in the house we're in and the other things that we need to be doing. So space and money, obviously are factors there, but I'd like to get back to doing that. So what's that thing for you? If it's not playing an instrument, is it painting? Is it drawing? Is it a physical activity of some kind, something crafty? Whatever that is, it's you should tap back into that, man, and find that joy. I have other things that bring me joy, thankfully, but that's one thing for sure. Music brings me great joy, and I do make time to go and watch some friends perform who play in bands, or go and see live music. So it's kind of on the same level, but it's still not me playing an instrument. So, but find what that is. Make a list of some of those things you'd like to bring back to life, to resurrect, to resuscitate in your life. Because living with regret or the frustration of not doing that thing, waking up one day when you're 70 and being like, my God, I loved that and I didn't do it for 50 years. But the cool thing is, it just takes one crack at it. If you haven't done it, but then you go and do it and you're like, wow, that was awesome. That was so much fun. Start doing it again. It's never too late, as they say. So follow through on those joys and those dreams that you've had for yourself. There's no sense in letting those die. Again, the health consequences, like I said, how dangerous is this to not make time for yourself? From a health perspective, there's tremendous negative implications for your health. Your stress, right? It's never good to live in a stressed kind of state where you're breathing up here, shallow breathing, your heart's racing, you're always in a hurry, in a rush, feeling that you don't have time, you're exhausted, all of these things, not good. Creatively, you're dead. You're not able to really be creative, because when you're in that state, it's really hard to just breathe and relax and tap into your creativity. Your physical health, not being physically active, is going to lead to all of these other kind of health, how your organs function, right? How your gut is, your gut health, huge. If you're not taking care of your eating habits, eating good nutritious foods, is going to affect how you think, how you feel. Being obese potentially, right? Being diabetic potentially. All these things, these rob you of years, decades of life. So not good. Like I said, cognitive decline, the way your brain works and way your brain functions, not good at all. When you're, not making time for yourself, not doing something that's life-giving, not doing something that's letting you operate at an optimal level. Everything's hazy, everything's foggy, everything's cloudy, everything's kind of, you see everything, through a clouded lens, I feel like. Not good. Ultimately, you have a shitty mood, okay? Your outlook, not good. And this can lead to depression if it's long enough. Some people might get there quicker than others, but I mean, it might take a while for you to get depressed. If you're not there and you're just but you're thinking like, geez, if I stay like this much longer, I'm gonna be. That's not a good place to be. And this all greatly affects our overall health and how long we're going to be on this planet in this life. So, a thing to remember here is that it's not selfish. And that's where I think a lot of people struggle, especially the ladies, because women, mothers especially, oh my gosh, all they do is give of themselves to their children, to their husbands. They're so giving. Most cases, not always, but most cases. I think of my mother, and just always giving, never taking time for herself, always running around serving others. And luckily, as she got older, I mean, she was doing a good job of making time for herself with her husband, my stepfather, to go do things and be around her grandchildren and travel. And I think she was a pretty happy lady. But it's not selfish to take time for yourself. It's just not. To do an activity, to do a hobby, a task, a to-do around the house that makes you feel good, painting or fixing something if you're handy. That can be, I know a lot of people that are really handy, crafty, and they really get great pleasure from fixing things up around their house or making something look really nice that they take great pride in. That's powerful, man. It's good on you and it's good for everybody else. So it's not selfish. It's not selfish. Give yourself that time. You gotta schedule it in, right? So this comes down to, I think, creating a list of these things that you would like to do more of. When you do make this time for yourself, what are you filling it with? What are you filling it with? And maybe make a list. Maybe put 10 things down. I think 10 is always a good number for a lot of things in life, but there's probably 10 things in your life that, from hobbies, to physical things, to maybe reading more, to being more spiritual, whatever. I'm sure you could come up with a pretty quick list of 10 things. Then prioritize them from most important to least. And then what's it look like and how you can insert those things into your day, into your week, into your month. Maybe there's certain things on that list that maybe is once a month activity or a once a month thing. There might be things that are daily, and then there might be things that are weekly. I think that's maybe a good take that into consideration when you prioritize them, right? I would say the things daily would be at the top of the list, right? If it's really important, then you probably want to do it daily. And if it's moderately important, it should probably be a weekly thing or even a few times a week thing. And then if it's, a little lower, but still something that you'd like to do, maybe it's something, one thing around the house that you want to fix or do around the house, whether that's paint a room or do an update in your kitchen, right? Or, replace something, do something, a new piece of furniture or, whatever that is. It can be anything. Maybe that's a once a month kind of thing, but the exercise component is more of a daily thing. Or again, could be reading, could be breath work, could be in the Bible. It could be, how about this? Working on relationships, right? Who are the people that I need to call more, text more, write more, whatever that is, and put people on the list. Here are the people that are important to me. How can I do a better job of staying in contact with them? Some people you love, they're bad at reaching out to you, but you love them. So if you're going to love them right, you got to do the work and reach out to them. Don't let the relationship just dissolve because you're both stubborn and, they haven't reached out to me. That's stupid. If you love somebody, reach out to them, tell them, just say, hey man, just thinking about you. I love you. We got to catch up. Easy enough. In fact, as I said that, I just thought of a buddy of mine that I need to send him. I'm in a group chat with him, but I haven't reached out to him independent or on a side from that group chat. And I feel like I got to do that because we haven't connected in a good way in a while. And so I'm going to do that right after I finish recording this. So who's that in your life? Create a list of people. We're not going to get anywhere in life if we don't plan a little bit and have action steps in that plan. So what are those things that are most important? Prioritize them. And then who are the people, right, that we need to maybe do a better job of keeping in touch with and staying, being better friends, being a better sibling. I can think of being a better coworker, whatever that is. So I can think of a lot of things. I'm sure your mind's probably racing as mine is. But if we don't put in the work, if we don't find the time for ourselves, we're going to have massive regret later in life. All the potential is there. And if we just keep waking up and going to bed, waking up and going to bed and running on that hamster wheel and don't ever do anything about it, decades will fly by and we're going to just be sitting there looking at ourselves going, man, look, I got old and I look at all these things I didn't do. Look at all these people I didn't stay in touch with. And you don't want to feel like it's too late, right? So don't let it happen. Don't let it happen. GSD. Get done. Get it done. Do something today about it. It only takes one little thing to really, one domino to kind of get them all going. So I hope this was encouraging, this message. It's coming from the heart. Again, I had some notes here I wrote for myself, but I was really just trying to get it out, this message out to you as best I could. And I hope something that I said resonates with you. And there's a person or an activity, or you should be left feeling something right now or thinking on something. And this is a good way to start the year. How about that? You got the whole year now to create a better version of yourself. 2025, let's make it a great year, huh? So Thank you so much for listening. Share this episode with a friend or a family member, somebody who could benefit from some of the things I said today. I got to go back and listen myself. I think I said some good stuff. I got to take my own advice. But it's been such a pleasure, as it always is here on Strong by Design. You take care of yourself. Do something good for yourself. Make time for yourself. You deserve it, okay? You might not think that, but I'm telling you right now, you deserve it. So make some time for yourself. God bless you. Love you. Talk to you next week. Thank you so much for listening to the Strong by Design podcast. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe so that more people can find out about our show. Plus, you don't want to miss any future episodes with the amazing guests and topics we have lined up for you.